The chance that nearly got away. Holland and I were good friends, but we were not that close. We hung out a few times at the same bars and had a few mutual friends, but the friendship was casual. He was a good guy though, and seemed pretty intelligent from the few interactions that we had. I did not know that Holland was gay when we first started to hang out until someone mentioned something in passing. That did not change things between us though, and I hung out with him like normal. One day my friend Ty let me know that Holland had scored 4 tickets to a football game where my favorite team was playing, and to top it off, I was invited to go with Holland, Ty, and Ross. I exchanged a few texts with Holland to thank him for inviting me, and we ended up talking about football for a long time. I had yet to meet someone who was such a passionate fan of my team like me, so the conversation went on for hours. I wish that I had made an effort to get to know him better in the past, but I was not very good at any social situation, and it took me a while to get comfortable with anyone. We talked a lot more in the days leading up to the game, and when we met up for the game, we were even wearing the same clothes. Ross and Ty both gave us a hard time over it, calling us twins, but we found it very funny. We got a few beers and snacks at the game and enjoyed it. I sat next to Holland and we would go mad each time our team scored. It was one of the best games that I'd attended ever since I stopped going with my grandfather. He had taken me to my very first football game when I was 5 years old, and I had not stopped going ever since. When it was halftime, I got up to go and get some more snacks for us, but Holland insisted that he wanted to come along with me. We could barely keep quiet about the game on our way to get our snacks, but I noticed that he seemed to be nervous about something, and he kept glancing at me. I thought that maybe I had some food stuck between my teeth or something. I asked him if that was what was wrong, but he said no, and he would tell me later on, so I let it go. Later on, we went to a diner to get some food. Ross had gone outside to have a phone call with his girlfriend, and Ty was at the next table talking to some guys he went to college with. So that just left Holland and me. "So, you had something to tell me?" I asked. "Zane, he started. "Hey, what's wrong? Are you okay?" I was now concerned about him. He would not look me in the eyes. "I'm okay. I want to tell you that I have a crush on you," he said, biting his lip. I raised an eyebrow. That was not what I was expecting to hear from him. He had put me in a very uncomfortable position, and I had no idea what to do. "You like me?" I asked. "Yes," he blushed. "Holland, I'm so sorry. You're a very good guy, and I'm sure that you have pure intentions, but I'm straight, and I do not feel the same way." I said what I felt was right at the moment, and pushed down anything else that tried to surface in my mind. I had only ever dated girls, but it had been 3 years since my last relationship, because there was something always missing that I could not place. He nodded quietly and had a crestfallen expression on his face, which broke my heart. I did not like to make anyone feel bad, and it pained me that I was responsible for the sadness on his face. But I could not do much about it. "I thought there was a chance you were not, but well, I'm sorry for putting you in this position," he smiled grimly. "Do not apologize. I have enjoyed getting to know you better these past few days, and I would like to develop a closer friendship with you," I said. Even with everything that had happened, he was the only one who got me on certain levels, and it had been a while since I got so close to someone. Ty and Ross were my friends, but they were also each other's best friends, so I did feel like a third wheel sometimes. "Of course, pal," he beamed. Things were a bit awkward between us when the others returned, but that did not taint what had been a terrific day. A few days later, we started texting again. Eventually, talking to him became a habit. He was very respectful, and not once did he mention what had actually happened between us. We began to hang out as just the two of us, and that was when we started to bond. We were soon very comfortable with each other and even discussed each other's love lives with each other. There was nothing that I could not tell him. He always understood me without even trying. We ended up having the same social calendar, matching Star Wars t-shirts and many more. He was the best friend that I had ever had before. If he even went a day without talking to me, I would be grumpy the whole day. We also had our own song that we sang whenever we went to karaoke, badly. We were best friends for over a year before I moved in with him. At the time that I met him, I had been living with my parents, even though I had a well-paying job and I was over 18. My parents and I got along really well, so the possibility of me moving out had never been brought up. They were really into the new age hippie lifestyle when they were younger, but they had settled down when they had me. They dropped a bombshell on me one night when they informed me that they were selling the house and going to be nomads. I was not surprised since they both had free spirits, so I started to look for a place to stay, but apartments were a bit expensive in the area that I wanted to rent, so I was having a hard time finding one for myself. I mentioned this in passing to Holland, and he told me that his roommate was moving out in a couple of days, so he was also on the search for a roommate. "This has to be fate," I hugged him tightly. "Man, imagine being roommates with my best friend. Nothing could be better," he grinned. I am surprised that you did not ask Nathaniel to move in with you, I said. Nathaniel was a guy that he had been dating for the past 6 months, and they were in a committed relationship. As soon as I mentioned Nathaniel, though, the light in his eyes dimmed. It was not unfamiliar with the look in his eyes. In fact, that was the reason I did not get along with Nathaniel. He was very self-absorbed and a flirt. I had warned my friend about him, but he was so in love with him. Trouble in paradise? I asked. Sometimes I wonder why I'm still with him. Like, I know the Nate I fell in love with somewhere in there. It's why I keep on trying, he said. I did not like that my friend was being played by that guy. He was a kind, genuine person that treated the people he loved like gold. Yet somehow he ended up with a person like Nathaniel. It was not fair at all. So then I moved in with him, which was a bit of a roller coaster in the beginning. All was perfect and we did not have any conflict, but then we would fight over stupid things like who washed the dishes. But we soon found our balance as roommates and friends and got through it. A few weeks after we started living together, he came home crying. It was raining and he was drenched. I did not notice until his voice broke, which led me to figure out he was crying. Holland, what's wrong? I asked. It's over, for good, he said. What is? Me and Nathaniel. He was cheating on me. He has been for many months now, and I've been stupid enough not to see it. He threw himself into my arms and started sobbing. I felt everything that he was feeling as if it was happening to me. I had seen him happy, sad, and disappointed, but never before had I seen him heartbroken like that. Have some water. Try to calm down, okay? I gave him some water to drink. We sat on a couch while he laid his head on my shoulder and did not say anything for a while. I thought that he was the one. Why does love hurt so much? He said. It is not that love hurts, it's that the people who do not respect love that hurt you, I said. I wish I was like you, happy alone, he said. Oh, I'm far from happy, I revealed. The longing for someone had greatly subsided ever since I moved in with him and got closer to him, but it was still very much alive, especially when he was not around. It will get better, I said, as I hugged him closer. Can I ask something from you? Anything. Will you spend the night in my room? Really do not want to be alone right now. Even if you just talk to me for a little while to distract me, I would really appreciate it, he said. I did not find his request odd at all because I really cared for him. I do not mind. Anything for you. Now, can you please eat something? I said as I got up to go and give him his food. I will try, he said weakly. He gobbled up the food within minutes, making me glad that he still had an appetite despite being heartbroken. When it was bedtime, I did my entire bedtime routine and then went to join him in his room. He was on his phone and crying, which was not a good sign at all. Delete his pictures, I said as I climbed in beside him. But I'm not sad. I'm just thinking of the memories, he protested. I'm serious. Delete all of them. You do not need him in your life, I demanded. He hesitantly deleted all of the pictures of the guy which were on his phone. Good. Now come here, I said. He moved closer to me and we cuddled. We fell asleep holding each other like that, and it was the most peaceful sleep of my life. I had never been one for affection, but with him it was so much easier. I wanted to protect him and make him happy. I had never experienced such feelings of protectiveness towards anyone, male or female, before, so that alarmed me a bit, but I pushed them to the back of my mind and focused on making him forget the jerk who cheated on him. Through that, we became closer physically. It became the norm for us to hold hands or even cuddle at times. I told myself that we were just close friends and I was not gay. I'd been straight all my life, or so I thought, but the look in his eyes when he was happy gave me joy. Surely, that had to mean something. One day we decided to go for a walk in the park, since it was now summer and the weather was getting much better. We ended up bickering over something stupid which led him to chase me around the grass. It was a pretty big park, so where we were was just a bit more secluded and it was just us around. I turned around to check how far behind me he was when suddenly I tripped on something and fell on my back. He followed soon after and was now lying on top of me with our lips so close to each other. We did not say anything for a while, but I was overcome by this sudden desire to have his lips on mine. I raised my head and gave him a peck. He looked at me in surprise. Then he leaned down and kissed me properly. I had kissed many girls in my life before, some who I had believed I was in love with, but those kisses paled in comparison to his delicate kiss. I wanted to be cocooned in his embrace for much longer and remain kissing, but he pulled away after a while. When he got off me and I sat up properly, but he could not even meet my gaze. I was not sure if I could have handled his stare. Should probably get going, it's getting late. I have some work to do, he said. Yes, you are right. Let us go home, I said. The walk home was very awkward, with the both of us lost in our thoughts. I was certain that he was regretting kissing me. I had rejected him once before, but that was before I knew him, before I cared for him, and before I was convinced that I was not straight. That kiss made me realize beyond reasonable doubt that I had romantic feelings towards my best friend. Do you want to talk about what happened earlier? I finally brought up the subject after we had not been talking to each other for hours. I'm sorry, it will not happen again, he said. I'm the one who kissed you first. I should be apologizing since you do seem to feel regret over the kiss. No, I do not regret it. It was a nice kiss, but I know that you're straight. We can put this behind us and never let it happen again, he said. I'm not entirely sure that I'm straight after that kiss. I am very sure that I'm not, I confessed. You rejected me when I told you I had a crush on you. At the time, I never knew that these feelings could exist. So sorry that I messed up our first chance, I said. Do not apologize for how you felt back then. I cannot fault you for being uncertain. You barely knew me after all, he said. Now I know you, and I want to have something special with you. I really like you, Holland, I said. Really? To be honest, getting closer to you these past few weeks has awakened the feelings that I had for you in the past, he confessed. Will you give me a chance to treat you the way that you deserve? I asked. Of course I will, he said. I leaned in and kissed him for the second time that day, and it was magical. We spent the rest of the evening in a love bumble, and confessing our feelings for each other. There was so much to talk about and so little time for us. We spent the rest of the night in his bed, acting goofy and sharing kisses with each other. With him, it all felt right. I was so sad when I had to go to work the next morning because I could not see him for the next few hours. A lot of my colleagues complimented me and said that I had an extra bounce in my step, but my lips were sealed. We continued to enjoy each other's company and develop our relationship for a few more weeks before we went out on our first date. We had a romantic picnic in the park where we first kissed, and that was when he asked me to be his boyfriend. After agreeing to be official with him, I felt as if I was ready to let the people in my life know who I loved. I was proud of my boyfriend who loved me, and had always stuck with me through thick and thin, and I wanted everyone to know. A few weeks later, I hosted a dinner at our place with all of our close friends and my parents who joined us through a Zoom call. We then told everyone that we were in love and had just started dating. I did not expect the immense amount of support that we got. Most of them had a feeling that something was happening between us already due to the chemistry between us, which surprised me since I had taken so long to see it. Our relationship was not perfect, even in the beginning stages. Both of us feared getting hurt, and there were a couple of misunderstandings between us. However, we decided to put our friendship first before all else, and to be honest with each other. That strengthened us as time went on, turning all the fears that we had into dust. Even though we had not gotten together in a way that some couples did, I would not change a thing. I had fallen in love with him as a friend first before I did as a romantic partner, and I would do it all again if given the chance to. The end. Donate to us on Ko-fi to support our channel, link in the description. Thanks for watching, consider subscribing to become part of our Rainbow Force and stay wholesome.